Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me tonight. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a beach scene where I'll have some beach chairs and an umbrella. I'll be showing you some clouds and just a simple way to do an ocean. I'm going to keep it as easy as possible for beginners. So we'll be using acrylic paints. I've got my husband Mark with me tonight.
Hey there, everybody.
He's manning chat for me, so if you've got questions, you can ask those during the live show. So let's get started. Okay, so this is my reference image. I'm probably going to shift these chairs this way because this one's kind of pointing in, so I want it to be pointing in towards the middle of the canvas instead of off to the side. So I felt like it was kind of, there was some stuff that I cropped out of this image on this side. So I'm going to shift it this way and we'll put our umbrella and chairs on this side, just slightly off center. I've got a 9 by 12 inch canvas Belgian linen board. This is Fredrix. They've sent these boards to me, and we're going to be doing a giveaway for these coming up this weekend. So be sure to check that out. Saturday show, we'll be doing a giveaway.
I'll be here.
I know. We're going to start the giveaway Saturday. It'll run for a week, so I'll have more information about it on Facebook and different places. But we're going to be giving away a whole case of these with, to 6 winners. 6 people.
Nice. I like that.
Be good. So if you're not already in my Facebook group on Facebook, Thankful Art, you might want to check that out because I'll be talking about it on Monday and posting all the links and things that you need in case you missed it on Saturday's show.
I'm glad I'm a member.
All right, let me go over my brushes really quick. So these are Princeton brushes. I've got number 12 bright, number 8 bright, and a number 2 bright. And then I'm going to use a number 2 round, possibly. And I've got a couple of angle brushes. This is a 3/8 inch angle and a 1/4 inch angle, and a 3/8 inch Willow's blender. Those are all in their VelvetTouch lines. These are the 6100 series in the long-handled green. And then a couple of Princeton Select 3/8 inch and 5/8 inch Deerfoot stipplers. These are my favorite little stipplers, but if you don't have these, we'll probably be using the Willow's blender and the stipplers both to do our clouds. So I'll show you kind of how to do both. If you don't have one or the other, you can do them without. Let's go over our colors. We've got Unbleached Titanium, Titanium White, Yellow Oxide, Phthalo Green Yellow Shade, Teal. This one's Cobalt Teal, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, Ultramarine Blue, Burnt Sienna, and Burnt Umber. I'm going to spray it because they're already starting to look a little dry there. I don't want that to happen. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is just try to kind of figure out where my sky is going to be. And on our image, it's just above the halfway mark, but I think I'm going to make it on the, let's see. Yeah, so there's the halfway mark. So we'll just come up just a little bit from there and kind of mark out our sky horizon line. And that'll just give us kind of a reference point. And then our beach is going to just kind of do this sort of wavy line in here. And it is going to be just below the halfway mark. So the halfway mark is kind of hitting right where this dark area is on our image. This turned out really fuzzy on my printer. I don't know why, but I guess I didn't have a high resolution on it. But we just want to make sure that we leave enough room down here for our deck chairs. So I might move this up just a little bit. Our ocean is actually a very small part of this. It's a lot of beach. So if you did it on a taller canvas, you could, adjust your proportions however you'd like. Okay, let's do that. That'll give us a little bit more working room on our beach. All right, and I'm using a T-square because I want to make sure that I get this horizon line on the ocean completely straight. You can use a ruler, whatever you want to do. You could tape it off, but getting this straight is one of the most important parts. So what I'm going to do first is just kind of paint the sky in, and then we'll use the T-square to make sure that we have that line straight when we put in our horizon. So we'll work on the sky first.
So by drawing it straight, you're admitting that the Earth is flat.
Is that true? Is that
Well,
right?
I think that's what you implied.
Is that? I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna go there. All right, I am scooping up. When I'm pulling my paint, I'm pulling from the side or the edge, and that's my kind of working edge, and I'm always going to pull more paint from that side and leave the other side of it clean so that I always kind of have a clean area of paint to work with. And I'm mixing my Phthalo blue and Phthalo blue and Ultramarine blue almost 50-50, and that kind of gives me a nice royal blue. They kind of cancel each other out because the Phthalo blue's got that green in it, and the Ultramarine blue's got the kind of red purpley tones in it, and when you kind of mix them together, they make this beautiful medium blue, right like that. And it's a pretty bright sky in this picture, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in nice and dark. I cut the color with a little bit of white, but not too much. Add a little bit of water to my brush and keep going here. Work my way down. And then as I get closer to the horizon line here, I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit more white. And that's just a trick that I like to do when I'm painting landscapes. Adding a little bit more white in your sky at the horizon will make it look like it's a little farther away. I'm going to go ahead and try to get it as straight as I can on that line that we put in there. There we go. And then I'm going to blend up into that darker color. That darker color that's above is still wet, so it'll blend. If you get kind of a straight line there, you can let it dry and come back and kind of blend in. Add in a little bit more white there so it's a little bit more obvious. Right down there. There we go. And just do it horizontally, and that way if you do have any streaks that show up, it will look like you meant to do that. All right. Totally meant to do that. Okay, so that's good enough for that. I'm going to go and clean my brush out. Try to get all that blue out of there. And then I'm going to pick up the Unbleached Titanium and some white, and I'm going to get the white off of the other side so that it's clean. There. And I'm going to cut the color probably in half, like 50-50. Unbleached Titanium has just got some yellow oxide and maybe a little bit of burnt umber in it. It's a kind of an off-white. It's called Titan Buff in the golden paint line if you're using golden. And I'm going like a shade darker than I want my sand to end up. I'm going to add lighter tones on top of this, but I do want kind of a sort of a medium base color, kind of a light base color for the sand to start out, because our sand is almost white, so I didn't want it to go too dark. And I'm going to go ahead and go right up over the top of my water line there, right into my water. Now you can still see it through there since I used blue chalk, which will actually be pretty good. You never want to use pencil when you're drawing. You want to use something that's going to disappear into your canvas, so like chalk, or pastel even, or watercolor pencil. Those are all good products to use for drawing on your canvas. Pencil marks will show through the paint. They kind of bleed up through, so you'll be able to see them after you paint. It'll take multiple coats to get them covered. So some artists don't mind that, but I prefer not to see pencil lines. So That's why I always use chalk.
Remember invisible ink.
Don't think that's...
You don't think
I guess it's a thing. But
it is a thing, but probably
no, actually, I do
here.
have some water-soluble markers that I've tried to use before, and they are water-soluble, but they bleed right through the acrylic paint. So unless you like blend them all the way into your canvases, I have found that they don't disappear enough. So learn the hard way. That one the hard way. All right, this is just about dry. I definitely came up lower over here, so I'm gonna, when I put my horizon line in, I'll have to adjust it a little bit. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use the smaller of the Deerfoot stipplers for my clouds. One thing with clouds is they're gonna get smaller as they go towards the horizon line. It's weird, but the ones that are up here high are actually closer to us. The ones that are way down here close to the horizon are farther away, so they're gonna be smaller. And the same thing with, this way. It's kind of like the horizon line is the smallest area of your canvas, of your perspective, and then everything coming out from it is going to get bigger, 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 bigger. So the things down here close to us on the beach are going to be the biggest, and then the clouds up here are going to be the biggest. Okay, I don't think I needed to explain that again, but in case we have kids watching something, I do want to make this one that you could do. I've been asked to do some projects for school, for schools and homeschooled kids and things. So I am trying to, on Tuesday nights, do them. Okay, I got something on here. Try to get that off. There we go. Without lifting off the paint. Trying to do some of the ones for the beginner, the beginner ones that are very kid-friendly, so. Okay, I loaded my brush. This is the Deerfoot. Don't add water to it. You want to keep it dry. Tap in the paint. I just grabbed a little bit of white. Very little paint. You can see how you really can't even hardly see it on there. It's just kind of tinted the brush, but it's definitely not coated on it because you don't want the bristles to clump together. So you want to tap it until they start separating out. You kind of they look sort of fuzzy like that. And then we're going to tap in our clouds on our sky. So we're just going to start up here. And I want to start out at the top of the cloud and work my way down, because as I paint with this brush, the paint will get less and less. We'll have less and less paint on there. So the top of our clouds we want to be a little bit brighter than the underside. So if we start tapping at the top and work our way down, then we can get these nice fuzzy edges at the bottom that sort of blend out into nothing, and brighter areas at the top. Okay, so let's do that again. And sometimes I kind of wipe the back end of it so that the paint is mostly on the tip, the upper tip of it. So I'm going to tap, and I'm just kind of tapping, and with this brush I'm sort of scrubbing almost. I'm kind of doing it in a circle and tapping. It's not lifting off the canvas all that much. It's not like a stippler brush where I'm tapping. I'm kind of scrubbing. It's more like a scrubbing motion. Now, if you have too much paint on your brush, you may want to do more tapping, but when I'm pulling into fresh paint, I'm going to really wipe it off well so that I don't have too much on my brush. And you notice that I'm kind of doing the clouds sort of flat on the bottom, flattish on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and extend this one down a little bit more. I'll start at these big ones at the top of the canvas, and then I'll work my way down to the smaller ones towards the horizon line.
Man, I'm sure glad we got side cam for this.
Really?
So we can see the scrubbiness
Scrubby, scrubby.
instead of the pokey pokeness of showing the correct techniques.
I see.
Those are art terms too.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
I don't like side cam because I can't see what I'm doing.
The painting
I use the
is right in front of you.
I use the reference. I use the camera as reference to see how it looks as a whole because I don't stop and move back. It like every now and then you kind of have to stop and look at it from a distance. And this way I can just kind of cheat and look up at the monitor. I
because I
don't
was
have
going
to
to come
stop
over
and kind of lean back and look at it. And
point out where the painting was if you needed.
What?
So I was going to come over there and point out the painting for you if you were wondering.
Well, no, it's just that kind of looking at it at a distance that makes it difficult when I
know.
it's on side cam. I can't see how it looks. Okay.
Yeah, but everybody can see exactly what you're doing with the tip of the brush.
Okay. Well, we can
gotta
argue this later.
You got to give the people what they want.
Okay. I think you want it more than anybody else.
All right, people.
Let's be real.
Let's give it a thumbs up if you like side cam.
Okay. All right. I am going to make a kind of a light blue gray. It's going to be lighter than the sky color. I've added a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue to it. And let's use this. I've switched to the VelvetTouch brush. I'm going to use a little tiny bit of the, let's use burnt sienna here. It'll kind of gray out that blue. That's good. So that's Ultramarine Blue, probably 2 parts Ultramarine Blue to 1 part burnt sienna there. And we're going to use that. That's the color right there. We want it just a shade darker than that sky color. And I'm just going to tap these kind of line clouds, very small sort of line of clouds. Kind of runs the whole horizon line almost. This is the Willow's blender, so it's a little bit smaller, it's a little easier to control. So I need to get some medium-sized clouds in here. I kind of came down too far with my big ones, I think. So I'm gonna kind of break these up. Just tapping and scrubbing. I can add just a tiny bit of water to that, but I want to dab off the extra. I'm going to come up underneath my clouds too, the ones that I've already put in that white part, and I'm going to add a shadow to the bottom side of these as well with this color. Just tapping. You don't really have to blend this in as long as you don't have too much paint on your brush. It's going to kind of let the brush do the work for you. You want that kind of stippled texture. It'll make it look more natural and fuzzy. Real small little baby ones, and then as we get up higher we're going to do kind of more medium-sized ones, clouds. And I'm not going all the way down to the bottom of the horizon line with these. I'm kind of coming just above that white line that I made there. Okay, so let me grab some white here, and I'm going to mix that in with this, sort of make a medium version of it. And we'll use a little bit more of that. And kind of highlight these little baby ones that we've got down here. Just tapping in on top of the gray. Just right above the darkest part.
So I'd like to say hi to everybody
Yeah, hi.
who's
Hope you
joined
guys
us
are having a
tonight.
good week so far. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, we got some nice weather here, so
We did.
what better to be indoors locked up on the internet? But we're glad that you joined us.
Mark's just glad that that good weather waited until he had to go back to work, right?
Yeah.
And we had cold weather all weekend long, so he had to stay inside. And
Well, yeah,
as
the
soon as
last
he
2
went back to
weekends I
work.
wanted to get some yard work done because it's springtime, and then it snowed 2 Saturdays ago,
Yeah.
and then this weekend it was windy and cold, and so anyways. But hey, thanks for joining us tonight. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe, jump in chat, ask questions, all caps please, so I can see them, because sometimes chat goes by very quickly and I don't catch everything. Then I get in trouble. People start harassing me in
Yelling.
chat, and it's, it's my life is so
You have
hard.
a hard job.
Yeah. Can give a thumbs up. Down below is a link to Amazon store, description of all the paints and brushes and stuff like that she's using. And link to Patreon where you can find the traceables.
Exactly. Good job, hon.
Thanks.
You should do this all the time for me.
I'm trying out. Kind of in that what do they call that period when
Probation.
Yeah, I'm in the probation
Probationary
period.
period.
It's only been like 16 months now, so
I think you're fired. I'm hiring you.
I'm fired.
No, you're hired.
That's it. I'm out. Bye.
All right. I decided to kind of break up those clouds. I thought that was too much of the white all the way down. So I'm kind of making these a little bit smaller. They're the ones that were sort of in the middle area here. Just by kind of adding a little bit more of that blue from the background. There we go. Making them a little bit smaller. All right, grabbing some white. Let's go ahead and use that with the background cloud color, or background sky color. We'll add a little bit of that in there. Alright, so just kind of creating. I'm going to take a little bit of time with the clouds since the rest of the painting is going to be very fast. I'm just kind of taking a little bit extra time to do a little bit of more special clouds today. Kind of usually rush through the clouds to get to our subject. So I'm just going to give them a little extra detail today. If this is something, they're really not that hard if you see. I mean, I think that the thing that people do that messes people up the most is putting too much paint down too quickly on the canvas. They just want to get it down and, paint in the clouds. But if you get them too solid, they just don't look as good. So you really have to keep very little paint on your brush, very light touches, build it up very gradually. And then you'll get nice, soft, fluffy looking clouds. I feel like I need to do one right in here. Can grab a little bit more white here. Just going to extend this one up just a little higher right in here. And make it do this sort of almost like a thundercloud does, where they kind of start to form shapes. We'll bring that one up, and I'm tapping very lightly. You can do side cam now if you want, honey. Tapping very lightly, just barely brushing the tip of the brush. You see how very little paint I have on here. Just sort of tapping and scrubbing in sort of a circular motion. And I'm going to go over and re-emphasize the white on the top of all of my clouds to brighten them up. Really not all. I'm not going to go all the way down to here because I want to keep these kind of darker. But these ones that are sort of in the middle, I want to add a little bit more white to the tops of them to brighten them up. Make them look like the sun's hitting them. Do small little sections. Keep moving your brush side to side, not staying in one place too long, and brush, 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 brush. If you do that, you could end up lifting the color off of the canvas. So you don't ever want to, when you're doing this kind of scrubbing technique, you don't want to ever stay in one place too long, because you will end up lifting the color right off the canvas. You'll scrub the color right off. We definitely don't want that to happen. So just keep moving your brush. If you don't like an area, you can always add the background color back in. You can always fix it. You know, if we go too far and you just add too much color, just use a little bit of your blue and put that back on top. Don't have to. Definitely don't try to scrub it off, you know. It's not gonna work. Okay. All right, so that's pretty good. Let's add a little bit more of that Ultramarine Blue Burnt Sienna color, that kind of gray blue. And the Burnt Sienna is so red that it'll almost create like a purpley color, purple gray, because the Ultramarine Blue has a lot of red in it as well. It's kind of a purple leaning blue. So this kind of reddish leaning brown here mixed with it will kind of create a sort of a purple gray blue color, which is really nice for our clouds. I'm going to actually add a little bit more of the brighter blue this time and keep it a little bit darker than this original color that we did. And I'm just going to go one more time very lightly, and I may need to wipe my brush off a little bit since I mixed it on there. I probably have a little bit too much paint on there. This time I'm going to go very carefully and just do a few little really dark shadows in a few places on these clouds. This will really push them back. So a little bit goes a long way. And we'll probably need to blend these in a little bit, so because I can already tell they're a little bit dark compared to what we've already got going on. But I want to get some dark shadows in here. Keep it at the bottom. Anywhere that you put this dark color, it's going to create like a pocket. It'll make it look like there's some depth. So now let's add some white, and we'll go just above it with our white color and blend those in. See that? We're trying to kind of make it look like those, you know, kind of tabletop clouds where they look like they're kind of stacked up together almost.
And we're almost done with this desert painting. It's pretty good.
Desert painting?
Yeah.
And what are you watching?
I'm watching this. Looks like a desert.
Looks like a desert. Oh, that's true. It does kind of look like a desert so far. Could be. Okay. So just kind of scrubbing in. This brush is really good for this because you can really get in there and scrub it. Scrub with it. I really like it. This is one of those specialty brushes that Princeton makes. This is exclusive to Princeton. And it says Filbert. It's got a really stiff bristled synthetic, so it doesn't get soggy when you get it wet, which is nice because a lot of the hog bristle brushes will get soggy if you get water on them. I have not found that to be true with this brush. Since it's synthetic, it doesn't get soggy like a regular hog bristle brush would do in water. So you can actually kind of wet down your paint a little bit more and do all kinds of fun little techniques with it. I've definitely really liked it. This is the first year that I've used it, and I've used it on several paintings now, and I've always really found it very helpful. I definitely like it. In combination with the Deerfoot, it really works well because it's so much smaller, so it can get into these tight spaces for these small clouds. If I didn't have this brush, I would probably end up using a fan brush for these little baby clouds in here. So if you don't have this brush, you can use a fan brush and just use it along its edge and tap in just on that corner to get a similar effect. It's a little bit more difficult to control with the fan brush though, so that's what I do like about this. It's a little bit easier to control.
Oh, we got an art question.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta hold on.
This is just white here that I'm using.
They want to know, can they use a gray rather than a purple in their clouds and still get the same look?
Oh yeah, yep, you can. I just like using kind of the purple just because you already have the sky, that blue is going to be picked up in your cloud color, so it's going to be reflecting the I just think it's a little bit more natural, a little bit more not natural, maybe what I'm trying to say, a little bit less cold than a gray, so a little bit kind of warmer feeling in your clouds than using gray. But I have used gray before. Gray would be more like on a foggy day, if it's real overcast and you're not having this bright blue sky. But in a bright blue sky like this, I definitely like having sort of more of a purpley shadow color myself. Plus that's what is showing up on the picture, so I'm just kind of painting it the way the picture colors were. So okay, I think that's good enough. So liking that. We've got some good far clouds here. I'm going to try to get a little bit more of the Ultramarine Blue here on the brush. And I put in quite a bit of white on some of these middle ones. They're not quite as white in my picture, so I'm going to just tone those down just a little bit. Okay.
So I'm guessing that's where Purple Rain comes from.
Maybe. Yeah, could be.
From Purple Clouds?
Purple Clouds, Purple Rain, yeah.
Okay, that was kind of lame, I know, but...
That was a little lame. I tried to laugh, but I wasn't feeling it. So
that's okay. I wasn't feeling it either. And I said it.
Okay, going in back in with some Ultramarine Blue and white here. Just kind of adding a little bit of that blue to these middle clouds. Okay. use it. So let's use this. This is all dry now. We've not been using enough paint to really have to worry about it. I definitely went a lot farther down on that side, didn't I? I don't know what I was doing.
So which brush were you just using before you switched? That was a Willow's blender or the Stippler?
That was the Willow's blender.
Okay.
This one, the
Right.
3/8 inch one. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. I'm going to get the 8 Bright now. And I'm going to grab Ultramarine Blue, Phthalo Blue. I'm going to add a little bit more Phthalo Blue this time, and a little bit of that burnt sienna. So it's probably 2 parts Phthalo Blue, 1 part Ultramarine, and like a half part of the burnt sienna, just a tiny bit of the burnt sienna, just to kind of tone it down just a little bit so it's not like so bright in your face circus blue color. And I'm just going to slide it right along my ruler there. Use that edge. As long as I don't have too much paint on my brush, it's not going to seep through. Whoop, see. And I can kind of pull it down from that edge if I get too much close. It's sticking to my net. There. There we go. Now I could have also used tape instead of the ruler there. So if you want to, you could make sure you use like a painter's tape or something like that, and make sure you tear it off while the paint's still wet, and that way you won't have any problems with when it can lift the paint right off your canvas if you let it dry first. Alright, so going down from that horizon line there, I want it to sort of gradually get lighter. And you can see I'm kind of turning my brush so that it's easier to kind of paint in a line here. Okay, then I'm going to grab my teal. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the teal with this color. A little bit of water just to kind of make it flow. I want to quickly go over this line between these two colors so that they blend. As long as I keep my brush strokes horizontal though, I don't have to worry about the blending too much because I can have kind of some streaks happening. It'll just look like it's part of our water that we meant to do that. So I'm going to kind of do it side to side like this, so that any places where the canvas is kind of peeking through, the white part of the canvas sometimes peeks through, you know, when you're putting your paint on, if it's not going on solidly. So if you do it side to side like this, it'll make it look like it's kind of waves happening back there, thin parts of the paint. And I'm going to rinse out my brush really well. And then use my teal and some white. In this area right up in front here, as I come up to my shoreline, get a little bit of water because it's kind of getting sticky on me. going to be a lot lighter right here, closer to the shore. I'm just doing quick little brush strokes side to side, using the brush this way. I'm not holding it this way. I'm holding it on its edge so that it's getting these nice, like, sharp brush strokes that are chopping up that water a little bit as I'm laying down this color. That fan is drying out my paint before I even get it on the canvas. Might turn it down just a notch. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome. I'm trying to check out these cool golden color charts that we got.
Oh.
To find out if we can mix teal.
Yes, you can mix teal with phthalo blue and phthalo green. Just use equal parts phthalo blue, phthalo green, and add white. And you get teal. That was one of the easier colors to mix, actually. And if you don't have phthalo green, you can use white, a little bit of yellow. Like a light, like a cadmium yellow light is probably better than a okay, I'm just realizing that I want to make sure since I'm moving my beach chairs over here, I don't want to put this ocean down too far over here. You can use like a cadmium yellow light will give you a prettier teal than this. I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of that phthalo green and some white. And mix a little bit of it into the teal there. I'm going to use it down here just to create some little soft whitewash. Here again, choppy little brush strokes side to side. Just grab some of that medium color between the background and the teal, sort of mixing this green into the background color. Let's just use it side to side over here. And this is dry now, so we can add some little waves up in here. Keep it horizontal. As you get farther away from the horizon line, your waves are going to get smaller and closer together. So keep your lines very small back up in here. And then as you get farther down the canvas, you can press down a little harder, get a little bit bigger ripples. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of this green from down here in my clouds. So I'm going to use an angle brush and pick up a little bit of that teal color. Just wet it down. And I'm just going to use it to sort of tint the bottom of some of these clouds. That'll pull that sky color, or the sky color and the watercolor together, make them look a little bit more natural. Now that we've got that, all of our values in, we can just kind of change the tint of the clouds a little bit just by doing this. Just adding a little tiny bit. Make sure you have it nice and watered down so that you're not like adding opaque paint to it. You want to just glaze with this color. You're just wanting to kind of pull a little bit of that watercolor up into your clouds. Okay, that's good enough. And then we can also, let's go ahead and use a little bit of ultramarine blue. use some of that teal color from our water, that darkest color here. Also thin, very thin down. I've wiped off the back end of my brush to get most of the color off of here so that it's only on the tip, or mostly on the tip. And really make sure that there's not a lot of paint on here. I'm going to go ahead and sort of go in some of our shadow areas and emphasize those shadows in a couple of these places on our clouds too. I'm using my finger to kind of blend it out as I go. Okay. Got some blue over here for some reason. I don't know how I did that. Alright, so I'll go ahead and use this brush. We'll see. This may be too big, but I'll try it and see how it goes. I'm going to use white, and I'm going to go ahead and stipple over just a little bit of that beach color that we already did, so it's not like a pure white. And I'm going to go right up to the top of my beach line and tap in. I really don't want that to look like it's, well, I mean, honestly, you could make it look like the ocean surf there is happening. This is like the sand is covering up, so you're not seeing the surf line right there on this picture, but you definitely could do surf right there if you wanted to. But I'm just going to tap in this white into, really kind of just scrubbing it into the sand area here, and I can go along with a little bit more solid white and clean up that beach line if I need to. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of this Unbleached Titanium over here. Cover up that blue we got over there. It's going to be very subtle, so you're not going to really, it's not going to be kind of an in-your-face change, but you'll be able to see it. You just want kind of a light texture in your sand there. This is a very soft, white, thin sand. So there's not a lot of contrast on it. There's not a lot of shadows going on. It's just mostly white. This brush will just kind of put it on a little faster. Loading not too much paint at any one time though. Take your time because you want it to kind of be see-through. You want to see that other color underneath, in between. Similar to what we did with the clouds. Only this is going to be more full coverage. You're pretty much just going to stipple over the whole thing. Just leave little pockets of that undercolor showing. If you lose hairs, that's normal. Just kind of wipe them off before they stick.
From your brush or your head?
Both.
Okay.
If you're me, it's both. Good question.
Just clarifying, that's
Yeah.
all.
Good. Thanks, hon. All right, so now I want to go ahead and clean that out. And I'm going to make sure none of these brushes are sitting in water. I'm going to clean them out as much as I can and just set them off to the side before I clean them out completely. So I need to have a water can. We need to have like a water pail can too. That'll be the next thing. So people can see the water. You can see how much that phthalo blue tints. It like dyes the brush. That's normal. That brush is fairly clean. It's just that that white gets dyed by the some of the pigments that we use. Kind of make it. All right, so now let's put in our shadows in our sand. So I'm going to use Ultramarine Blue and Burnt Umber. Create a gray. Kind of equal parts. And grab that Unbleached Titanium. And I really want it light. I don't want it super dark. Because it's not very obvious in our sand. It's kind of very subtle, little texture. So I want to be sure that this color is very close to my original background color. Just wash that off. And I'm going to, oops, that may be still too, well, I don't know, I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to do light brush strokes. I'm just going to create little shadows in my sand, right? Just kind of footsteps all in the sand there. So setting it down and sort of sweeping it to the side a little bit before I lift, tapping very small little sections here. Kind of creating little clusters of them maybe. Try not to repeat the pattern too much. So kind of keep it random. It's one of the most difficult things because you kind of get in a rhythm when you start doing stuff like this and you end up kind of tapping in the same direction over and over again. You'll end up with kind of unnatural looking patterns.
And do you have to follow the same rule that you do with the clouds where it's bigger in the bottom and smaller
yes,
in the middle?
A little smaller. As you get up here, I'm kind of tapping a little bit lighter and smaller. My shadows won't be as dark. A little farther away, they'll be lighter. So, good idea. Good question.
That's Willow's.
Huh? Yeah, Willow's blender here again. Okay. And then let's grab that Unbleached Titanium, some white. That's kind of our original beach color, right? And I'm just going to kind of tap over the top of some of these just to sort of set them in. And maybe tap along that top edge of my sand just to kind of make sure it's blended in. So this is the original kind of background sand color, the first color that we put on before we stippled the white on top. So we're just kind of laying it on top of these shadows, just above them. It's just going to soften them up. Make them blend in a little bit more.
We have a request to do a close-up of the Willow's blender.
Okay. Clean out my brush here because it's getting...
The actual brush itself. Okay.
So it's very thin. You can press it nice and flat so it can get a nice thin line. You just gotta stiff bristles all the way along it. Took a long time on that clouds, didn't I? I didn't realize how late it was getting. I've already been painting an hour. I need to hurry it up here. We did kind of start a little late, though. About 5 minutes late.
Yes, we did. Thank you for everybody for hanging in there with us.
Yeah, I messed up the schedule this time. I scheduled it for 2 p.m. instead of 6 on accident. So if you got your notice earlier today and came looking for it, I'm sorry. Same time, just user error. My bad. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing with the white. Just tap in with the white. Little few highlights. It doesn't feel like I've been painting an hour. Sorry, I don't know. And in the rhythm of it. This is a fun one. Kind of feel like you're on a tropical island. Very relaxing painting to do. Alright, I think that's good. Let's put in our beach chairs. So I'm going to keep those fairly simple. I'm just going to do sort of squares. I can get a chalk out. So our umbrella is going to go right up in here, and it's going to be above the horizon line. So it's going to be like right in this area here. Sort of a triangle shape. A little more rounded at the top and comes out to the sides. I'm not going to do the inside of it like this one. I'm just going to tilt the umbrella down so we're just kind of seeing the bottom edges of it, and we'll do some little scallops coming down from either side of it. So a little scallop there, a little one here, and then the rest of it is visible. That'll make it a little bit more beginner friendly, I think. And we'll put the stick down, and it's just going to disappear down into our sand here. And then our chairs are going to be right on either side of it. And they are like this.
Man, that's going to be one gigantic Mai Tai. Have an umbrella that big in your drink. Jeez. That's a rough day.
Oh, gosh. I'm realizing that I put my water down a little too low there. So my umbrella is really, really tall. So I might bring my chairs up above the water line there, just to make it look a little bit more natural. I don't know, we'll see if I need to. Let's put that post in. I'm going to use my number 2 bright. This is where you can also use your ruler if you want to get yourself a nice straight line. Just using that edge of my brush and sliding it right along that edge. And I'm going to go ahead and make it a little thicker than that, but just wanted to show you how to do that. And I'm just going to make this go down in the sand. So I'm just going to put a shadow kind of at the bottom of it. And I'm going to shadow coming out. This is our sand shadow color, right? I'm going to shadow this whole area, just dry brushing. This whole area of my sand, kind of creating a shadow of the umbrella. It's going to kind of go around. It's going to be kind of that general shape of the umbrella, but it's sort of offset this way. And the edges are going to be kind of rough because it's going to catch the texture of the sand, so you don't have to have super clean lines when you do this, or kind of muffle those edges so that they sort of disappear out into the sand. Okay. And let's go back in and make sure I that up. Okay. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of this lighter color right over the top of that, so it looks like it's. I'll keep it fairly dark because it's in my shadow area, but I do want to kind of create a little texture right there in that sand to cover up where that pole is going down into the sand. Okay. I'm just trying to see how it would look if it was down over the top of my horizon line instead of above it. I might do that. I think I'll be happier with it. Mark's like, just paint it already.
No, I was just thinking, so the last 5 minutes, everybody, a race?
No,
Yeah,
that's
right.
fine. No, I'm going to start there, but I'm going to bring it down a little bit more, I think. So I'm going to paint in each section separately. And that way, they'll be a little bit different color. So that was white there. Let's do white again here. Leave a little bit of that blue in between, just a little bit. And this is a soft triangle shape. It's not a, these edges, this side and this side are curved up. And let's do a little bit of a darker on this side. So I'm going to use the Unbleached Titanium on this side of it. Yeah, coming up just a little bit from so it's just slightly rounded on that bottom edge. I am going to bring it down a little bit more though. Okay, and then I'm going to use this color over here too. Let's go over that side, shadow that side a little bit. And let's use a little bit of the white just on top right there. Okay, let's let that dry.
Is it break time?
Yes, break time. Wiping off my chalk line there. Pulled off a little bit of paint, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to put that back in. Okay. I feel like, yeah, I think that's going to be okay. I'm just going to bring it out a little bit more. All right, and then let's do our chairs. So this is going to be burnt umber, a little bit of yellow oxide, and mix together. And we'll just do slats. So I'm going to start at the top here, and go across, come down and do another one. Maybe change the color a little bit as I do each one so that they're just slightly different color. Using that width of my brush to kind of give me my width of my slats of my chair here. What are you laughing at over there?
Oh, Kim suggested that get a mini fridge
I think that's
for
a
in
good
here.
idea.
So
For in here, for
Yeah.
you to snack.
yeah, so that'd be good. For some of the Patreon money that they get support to go towards real supplies.
Hashtag feed Mark. It's already a thing, though.
But I don't know if a mini fridge would be big enough.
It's true. Maybe not. Do side pieces there. Add a little bit of unbleached titanium just to kind of soften up the color. And then the arms come down. So I did one. Let me go ahead and go over those with a little bit of the lighter color to lighten up, give them a little highlight. Like maybe one more. And we'll come down on either side with our side pieces. They go down. Using the edge of my brush here to create these lines. And then the bottom of the chairs, you could do them a couple ways. You could just do this. You could just kind of have them come down and go down into the sand and disappear and call it good. But they kind of have those rails to keep them from falling down into the sand, so we can do kind of a side piece that sort of comes out like that on the inside of each end. Like that. Okay, and then there's one more smaller rail that sort of connects them there. Like that. All right, and I think that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do a ton of detail on these chairs. So I can go in with some dark and kind of add some streaks in between our boards. I can Scooter's making noises now. He's hungry too. He's like... Okay, so there's our first chair. And then this one's sort of angled a little bit. So this one sort of goes this direction. Let's try to get them about the same width as this. So we were about there. There, we need to bring these a little wider. Alright, do the side back pieces here. Scooter, stop. It's my dog. He's done. He's like, are we done yet? I'm just gonna start choking until we end this. All right, so let's do this. We're seeing the kind of the top part of this chair a little bit. You're seeing the arm come out a little bit there. Bring this down.
No, that was not my stomach, everybody in chat.
Is that Mark's stomach? That's great. Yeah, that's funny. All right, so let's do this rail here. I'm very much simplifying these chairs, so you can do them a little bit more detail if you want to, but I'm simplifying them quite a bit just to keep them more easy, kid-friendly. So they're already a little bit complicated, more complicated than I wanted them to be. There. So bringing those out this way at an angle, here and here, and then do my cross piece. And then I'll just do another cross piece here. Alright, and then let's grab our sand, right, because our sand's going to be kind of covering up some of this action here. Just going to kind of put our sand around, in and around our chair. My chair looks crooked on this side. I don't know how he got crooked. Alright, let's use a little bit of the Unbleached Titanium with my brown here. I'm just going to add kind of highlights across the top of my chair, the rail, the backs of the rails. I do want to put an arm on here. Yep. It looks a little bit like a ski deck. I don't know. I guess it's all right. That's what I get for trying to change it up. Make it simplified, making it more difficult. It would have been just easier just to paint it what I saw there, instead of trying to take out parts of the chair that probably it needs to function properly. So don't try to sit on these.
An engineer, you are not.
No. That's all right. That's all right. You get the idea.
Don't rent Angela's beach chairs.
Oh gosh. Okay. Sorry. Okay. We need our shadow in here too. I just realized we need a shadow on our sand there underneath our chairs too. So I'm going to put our shadow on this one. Okay. I need to make more of that blue-gray color for our shadow sand. I should have put my shadow in before I painted this chairs in, because now I'm having to paint around them. It's a little harder. And honestly, you could leave this part out. You don't, I mean, but I think it looks a little bit better to have the shadow under there. A little more realistic, at least. Even though our chairs are not that realistic looking. All right, there we go. Yeah, definitely don't sit in these chairs. This one looks like it's leaning forward.
So do the chairs.
Doesn't look all that relaxing at all. I didn't do the angle right. I should have angled it. I don't know what I was thinking. I made it straight up and down.
Yeah, they're going to be sitting straight up.
I know. I didn't angle it at all.
Quote,
so
relaxing at the beach.
I know.
Good posture, everybody.
Okay, so when you put these in, angle your chairs out. That's why I'm realizing that that's why it looks weird. I'm like, why does this look funny?
Your knees will be up by your chin.
It needs to, well, the chair needs to angle this way. Oh my gosh.
So doing chairs.
Do I want to fix that? I do. I kind of do. I need to fix it.
So
it's going to bug me.
Doing chairs, does this make it a little bit more of a beyond a beginner painting, or what are we doing?
I'm fixing it. I can't stand it. I can't do it. I can't.
Wow, that's what you just did right there. That just made it a lot better looking.
What?
I said, no, honestly, what you just did there just made it look a lot better.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that.
Well, I'm just going to change that angle. This is what I get for not painting it ahead of time. I was worried about that top angle, but I didn't angle this. So these slats need to angle out this way. So this line and this line would match up here. So starting here, we're going to angle it out this way. These two lines are still parallel here, but by angling it this way, it'll make it look less like he's sitting straight upright in his chair.
Kind of reminds me of the technique that you used in the grill of the tractor painting.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly.
Was that a Farmall?
I can't remember. Don't start that. Don't start with the tractor. Because everybody's got their own opinion. Don't. I can't believe you did that.
You're welcome.
I get a million comments about that again.
Hey, at least I didn't go the boho route.
That's true. Okay, there we go. I feel a lot better about that. A lot better. So much better. I couldn't have handled. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't let it stay that way. It was not gonna be good enough. Okay, just using that white, kind of trying to tapping around. That's not ideal. So don't paint. If you've been painting along with me, I apologize. You just had to fix that too, probably. All right, let me switch to my angle brush again. We'll give our umbrella one more coat and we'll be done. Let me use that white here. Do another bright. Well, you could make your umbrella any color you wanted and just do the same, techniques. Just use like a little bit darker on the sides and lighter in the middle. I liked the neutrality of this palette, for beach painting. Just kind of like that it was sort of simple, but feel free to change it up. Give your umbrella some color if you want to. I'm sure everybody will have their own. There'll be at least one person that does the beach chairs correctly, too. That does them like exactly like the picture. But I tried to make it easier, and I don't think I could achieve that. I think the only way to make it a little easier is just if you just didn't do any of these cross pieces, just did the straight up.
Or just leave the chairs out completely.
Well, you could do that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the umbrella is not hard. Not at all. I'm going to use some white here. Go over the top. And just pull that white down. Since we got that lighter color underneath, or that other color underneath, it's gonna show through the white a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna use a little bit of the blue. Ultramarine Blue. Unbleached Titanium here. Use some white too. Just a light shadow color. I'm going to go right along that edge. And a little bit of a shadow. You could leave this out if you're doing this with kids. And let's shadow down here because there's like a fold in the umbrella that happens right there. I can't help myself. I need to stop now. I'm going to use the edge of the brush. Just do a line right there and there. And just dry brush a little bit of that blue on my white section. Just to give it a little texture. Alright, I think we're good. I'm going to do a little bit more highlight on my chair one more time since it's drying. Now, kind of blend this back in a little bit better. A little bit of burnt umber here. And go through the slats here. So what you need to remember is these lines should all be parallel this way, and these lines should be parallel this way. That way you'll keep your perspective correct on these. And let's use a little bit of this to highlight our pole, just so it's not solid. All right, I'm going to call that good. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Let's sign it real quick. Mix up some of that burnt umber shadow color here. And just sign over here. I've got a liner brush here. You want to add a lot of water when you're signing with the liner. Thin down your paint very thin. And hold it like a brush, like a pencil, so that just the very tip is touching the canvas. There we go. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you try this. If you did, if you do, you can share it with me on my social media. All those links are down in the description, like Mark said. We are going to be back on Saturday with that giveaway for the Fredrix canvases, so be sure to check back in Saturday's show. We're going to paint a llama. Should be a lot of fun. I haven't decided yet whether it's going to be boho llama with some flowers, or if we're going to do like tassels on the llama. I'm kind of leaning towards tassels. Maybe we'll do both, tassels and flowers. I don't know. We'll see.
Where am I going to get a llama by Saturday?
We'll see how crazy we're feeling. It's okay. I'm just going to use picture of llama. It doesn't have to be a real llama.
Oh, okay. Good.
Let me get a little dark up at the top there. I think I'm going to...
They're not native to this area, so...
No.
It would have been difficult.
Well, it may be I say llama, it may be an alpaca that I use. I have several different pictures.
Don't start now. That's worse than the tractor debate.
I know the difference, though. I can tell you the difference. They're pretty similar, except for just their ears are different. And there's something else about them that the guy said when I was buying my alpaca, Francisco, and I'll show him on Saturday.
Don't mess this up. That's all I'm saying.
Don't mess up the front. I just added a little tiny bit more shadow in there on umbrella. Okay, I'm done for real this time. Thanks, guys. We'll see you Saturday. Thanks for joining us tonight. Oops, I'm off camera there, aren't I? All right. Do you wanna X out of the thing there so we can get a full shot of it? There we go. We'll zoom in. See, not too bad. Yeah, I kind of liked it better without the chairs, to be honest. It's all right. All right, guys. Thanks.